Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to our study of The Promised Day Has Come by Shoghi Effendi, session 43. He says, here Shoghi Effendi is continuing to quote from Baha'u'llah's letters and writings in which he addresses mostly the Muslim clergy of Persia. O heedless one, he thus addresses in the La'i-Burhan a notorious Persian mujtahid whose hands were stained with the blood of Baha'i martyrs. Okay, so the La'i-Burhan, I have not looked it up. It is a letter, it is a tablet. A Persian mujtahid is as I understand it, is a judge, a religious judge. And so Baha'u'llah is addressing this religious judge who was responsible for the murder of many Baha'is. Rely not, and he says, this is what Baha'u'llah says to him, rely not on thy glory and thy power. Thou art even as the last trace of sunlight upon the mountaintop. Soon will it fade away as decreed by God, the all-possessing, the Most High. Thy glory and the glory of such as are like thee have been taken away. And this verily is what hath been ordained by the one with whom is the mother tablet. Okay, for those of you who just joined, this is an address of Baha'u'llah to a Persian mujtahid who was responsible for the death of many Baha'i martyrs. And Baha'u'llah is saying to him, you're like a trace of sunlight on the mountain. It will fade away. Thy glory and the glory of such as are like thee have been taken away, and this verily is what hath been ordained by the one with whom is the mother tablet. So Baha'u'llah is telling this person, this mujtahid, this religious judge, God has removed from you your position, has removed from you your power and your glory. Because of you, the Apostle Muhammad lamented, and the chaste one, Fatima, cried out, and the countries were laid waste, and darkness fell upon all regions. Wow, can you imagine? The Lord of the age is telling this religious judge that that because of him, by the way, thank you, Bonnie. I see what you're saying. It's so sweet. So it distracted me just a little bit, but it was great to see it. I'm not trying to encourage people not to say things. Anyway, but this is amazing. The Lord of the age is addressing this Persian mujtahid and saying that because of you, countries were laid waste and darkness fell upon all regions. Oh, can you imagine the suffering this person caused? O concourse of divines, because of you, the people were abased, and the banner of Islam was hauled down, and its mighty throne subverted. It makes you cry. Because of what these leaders of religion have done, the people were abased. So here are all of these people in Iran and in the Sultan, the Ottoman Empire, and there was the Lord of the age who could have revived their souls and their lives. But because of these Muslim leaders of religion, the people followed them because they didn't know any better. They couldn't read. They didn't think they knew anything. So they just followed them. And the banner of Islam was hauled down and its mighty throne subverted. In other words, Islam at that moment ceased to become a stronghold of truth. Every time a man of discernment hath sought to hold fast unto that which would exalt Islam, you raised a clamor, and thereby was he deterred from achieving his purpose. So every time someone who actually knew something, someone who was following the laws of God, truly following the laws of God, or who recognized the Lord of the age and was promoting these laws, which were going to recreate the souls of human beings, these so-called leaders of religion made a big fuss and prevented that person from helping the people to exalt themselves, while the land remained fallen in clear ruin. Say, O concourse of Persian divines, Baha'u'llah again prophesies, in my name ye have seized the reins of men and occupy the seats of honor by reason of your relation to me. He's basically saying, with the voice of God, he's saying to these leaders of religion, you are leaders of religion because of me, because of God, because of the Lord of the age. And you occupy these seats of honor. The people are listening to you. When I revealed myself, however, ye turned aside, and I committed what hath caused the tears of such as have recognized me to flow. So, as soon as the manifestation of God revealed himself to human beings, these leaders of religion turned away and started their horrible persecutions. Ere long will all that ye possess perish, and your glory be turned into the most wretched abasement, and ye shall behold the punishment for what ye have wrought, as decreed by God, the ordainer, the all-wise. So pretty soon, not long, you're going to lose everything that you have. You're going to see how abased you are, and you're going to see the punishment for what you've done that God has ordained for you. In the Surah-e-Muluk, addressing the entire company of the ecclesiastical leaders of Sunni Islam in Constantinople, the capital of the empire and seat of the caliphate, he has written, okay, let's just say what this is here. The Surah-e-Muluk, that is Baha'u'llah's tablet to the kings. So he addressed the kings, as you know, he addressed the kings both individually and collectively. And in this tablet, the tablet of the kings, the Surah-e-Muluk, this is where Baha'u'llah is addressing all the ecclesiastical leaders of Sunni Islam in Constantinople, the capital of the empire and the seat of the caliphate. So Sunni Islam, so as you know, there were two branches of Islam. There was the branch that followed Ali, the rightful heir, the rightful spiritual leader after the death of Muhammad. And then there were the Sunnis who betrayed the rightful heirs. And I don't know whether that was after the death of Imam Hussein or during the time of Ali. But the Sunnis were another branch of Islam that turned away from the rightful heirs. And they set up their government in Constantinople, which is now Istanbul. So the caliphate, the caliphs became the leaders of Sunni Islam. They were both the temporal and the religious leaders. So Baha'u'llah wrote to them, "O ye divines of the city of Constantinople, we came to you with the truth, whilst ye were heedless of it." So Baha'u'llah came to them, and they didn't pay any attention. "Methinks you are as dead, wrapped in the coverings of your own selves. You're like dead people. You're not awake to the life of the Spirit. Ye sought not our presence, when to do so would have been better for you than all your doings. You didn't try to meet with me, even though that would have really helped you. Know ye that had your leaders, to whom ye owe your allegiance, and on whom you pride yourself, and on whom you mention, by day and by night, and from whose traces you seek guidance, had they lived in these days, they would have circled around me, and would not have separated themselves from me, whether at eventide or at morn." So I am not sure what leaders he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about Muhammad. Maybe he's talking about the truly spiritual, far-famed mystics and holy people. He's saying, you talk about them all the time. You know, you quote from them, you talk about their lives. They would have followed me. Ye, however, did not turn your faces towards my face for even less than a moment, and waxed proud, and were careless of this wronged one, who hath been so afflicted by men that they dealt with him as they pleased. So he's saying, you leaders of religion, you didn't look toward me at all. You puffed yourselves up. You didn't pay any attention to me or to my sufferings or to the sufferings of the ones who followed me. So that even though this was the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings, they just did whatever they wanted with him. "Thereby have ye withheld from yourselves the winds of holiness and the breezes of bounty that blow from this luminous and perspicuous spot." Because of that, you've deprived yourselves. You've deprived yourselves of all that you could have gained from turning to me. "Methinks ye have clung to outward things and forgotten the inner things, and say that which you do not." So, you like to look good. You like to have a lot of stuff. You like to be seen as important in the eyes of men, but you are neglecting all of the inner things. You say things that you don't do. You lie. Everything that makes a person's character, you neglect. You are lovers of names and appear to have given yourselves up to them. So you want your name to be raised abroad so that everybody knows who you are. And that's all you care about. For this reason, you make mention of the names of your leaders. It's because of, you love names, so you talk about these truly holy people. But he says, if anyone like them, if anyone who's really like these wonderful people, or even better than them, superior unto them, come unto you, you would flee him. So if anybody of these people that you're naming and calling, if they actually came to you, you'd run away from him. "Through their names ye have exalted yourselves and have secured your positions and live and prosper." Because of these names of these truly holy people, that's how you make your living. You talk about them in the pulpits, and now you've got these great positions and you have all this money, and that's what your life is based on, talking about their names. "And were your leaders to reappear, you would not renounce your leadership, nor would you turn in their direction, nor set your faces towards them." So if these leaders that you talk about all day long actually came into your lives, you wouldn't give up your leadership and turn it over to them. And you wouldn't listen to them. You wouldn't look at them. You wouldn't follow them. We found you, as we found most men, worshiping names which they mentioned during the days of their lives and with which they occupy themselves. So Baha'u'llah found these leaders of religion just talking about all these holy people. That's what they do all day long. No sooner do the bearer of these names appear, however, than they repudiate them. So this is just another writing that Shoghi Effendi is bringing to our attention of, wow, I just realized that I did not post. I have to post these writings. Here, let me see if it'll work. Just a second. Okay, I just posted the writing so you can follow along. I am sorry. I meant to post them, but now you can follow along. Okay. So Shoghi Effendi is just picking out different writings where Baha'u'llah is saying similar things so that we can see that he did try to address these leaders. Here's another quote. Know ye that God will not in this day accept your thoughts, nor your remembrances of him, nor your turning towards him, nor your devotions, nor your vigilance, unless ye be made new in the estimation of this servant. Could ye but perceive it? So Baha'u'llah is saying to these guys, unless you recognize me, because I have come to bring the seeds of regeneration for the entire planet, and it's really important that you recognize me and promote this. He says, if you don't remember me, if you don't turn toward me, okay, God is not going to accept your prayers, your effort to be good. Nothing is going to be acceptable unless you do this, because you are the leaders of men. You have the responsibility to lead people to the truth. If you don't do this, nothing you do is going to be acceptable in the eyes of God. And then he says, Shoghi Effendi goes on. He says, the voice of Abdu'l-Baha, the center of the covenant of God, has likewise been raised, announcing the dire misfortunes which were to overtake soon after his passing the ecclesiastical hierarchies of both Sunni and Shiite Islam. So Abdu'l-Baha, in case you don't know it, Abdu'l-Baha was the son of Baha'u'llah. He was the leader of the Baha'i faith after the passing of Baha'u'llah. And he was the center of God's covenant. In other words, Baha'u'llah appointed Abdu'l-Baha in his will and testament, in his own handwriting, in writing. Abdu'l-Baha was the one that all the Baha'is should turn to. So there wasn't any doubt about the who was going to be the authority of the Baha'i faith after the passing of Baha'u'llah. So we wouldn't have this schism of like Sunni Islam and Shiite Islam. That all the schism that's been seen in Christianity, there are thousands of sects. In Judaism, there are many sects. In Islam, there are sects. So Baha'u'llah made sure it wouldn't happen by writing in his will how the succession was going to happen and who was going to succeed him. And that's who Abdu'l-Baha was, the center of God's covenant. And he told the leaders of Islam that what was going to happen after he died. After Abdu'l-Baha died, he told the leaders of Islam what was going to happen to them. And he said, this glory, he has written, shall be turned into the most abject abasement, and this pomp and might converted into the most complete subjugation. So he's saying there, the glory that you are enjoying, you are going to be abased. You're going to be shamed. And this pomp and might, all of this power and ego is going to be, you are going to be completely subjugated. You are going to have no power. It's all going to be taken away from you. Their palaces will be transformed into prisons, and the course of their ascendant star terminate in the depths of the pit. That's harsh. The palaces of these leaders are going to be transformed into prisons. In the course of their ascendant star, that means the star of their fame and their might and their power is going to end up in the depths of the lowest pit. Laughter and merriment will vanish. Nay more, the voice of their weeping will be raised. They're not going to laugh or be gay and happy. They're going to cry. Even as the snow, he moreover has written, they will melt away in the July sun. The dissolution of the institution of the caliphate, that means the caliphate, which is the ruling body of Sunni Islam, the complete secularization of the state, which had enshrined the most august institution of Islam. So, well, let's go on. And the virtual collapse of the Shiite hierarchy in Persia were the visible and immediate consequence of the treatment meted out to the cause of God by the clergy of the two largest communities of the Muslim world. So, the dissolution of the institution of, I'm sorry, I'm really doing poorly today. The dissolution of the institution of the caliphate. So, as I said, that was the temporal leaders of the political leaders of Sunni Islam were wiped away. And that state, which had enshrined this caliphate, the most important institution of Islam, and as well as the Shiite hierarchy in Persia, were completely wiped away as a consequence of the treatment of the cause of God by the clergy of the two largest communities in the Muslim world. The thing that I absolutely love about this book that we're studying is the world knows some of this history, but they don't know why it happened. They don't know why the caliphate disappeared. They don't know why the rulers lost their power. All the rulers, all over Persia, not Persia, all over Europe and Asia, they don't know why. We know why. It was because they turned away from Baha'u'llah and they persecuted the faith. This is incredible information. And it's really great that we're studying this together, because we are going to be able to talk about this. I can't remember all of the details. I can look it up and read about it and explain what the words mean. But, in order to really teach this stuff, we've got to study it. We have to study the book. So I'm so delighted that you joined me. And Bonnie, it's so great to know, because I see I think there's about, up until a little bit ago, there were about 6 people that were coming on a regular basis and joining me for this, but I didn't know who they were, so it's really great to see who's there. And also Laura, great to see you. Yeah, have a great day. Ya Baha'u'llah, O thou glory of the most glorious.